There's something about
finding your weird.
Finding your weird with a friend.
One of the epidemics we have is loneliness. And one of the solutions we are sold is go find it.
The big love you are looking for is your own.
What if you learn not to be alone just by being with yourself?
Yeah. Why do we go into that we feel like we're alone in the world, or that we don't belong, or that we're either too much or not enough? Those are some of the themes we hear women over and over talk about.
What's like your big lonely moment that you remember?
I'm not myself.
Hi, partner.
Hey, friend. Hi, listeners. Welcome back to Heart and Head Work. I'm Rocky Donati.
I'm Tessa Arneson.
We're the co-founders of MAVEN, the world's largest community of women-owned small businesses. Found
We're so
anywhere
lucky.
in the world. I know. We are so fucking lucky for this to be our job. We're just sitting here on a Wednesday. That
We're sitting
who
here.
else gets to say that? And we've been dicking around for like the last 2 hours.
It's nice.
Doing voices that I wasn't allowed to do apparently on the microphone, according to producers.
They will join.
But they're going to get it anyway.
Oh, it's like
Venka from Stranger Things.
I can't help it. I had to do it.
You had to.
We were doing accents earlier, and there's a game that someone brought up. And what was the name of it? Like Pitter Patter, Whopper Dopper, something rhymey dimey. And apparently it's like Cards Against Humanity.
In an accent the whole time, which we love.
Yes.
Shall we tell them the quick
We
story?
should absolutely
Is that a
tell
good?
them.
Is that all
It's a
right?
great
Quick story.
It's a fucking hilarious story.
It's hilarious because
we think it's hilarious.
Today we're going to be talking about being alone and not belonging. And I will tell you, this little human next to me, I always belong to.
I know, because we can be in the deep jungles of Malaysia on a boat with
Water safari.
Yeah, me trying to feed crocodiles with chicken that I stole from a buffet because we were told not to feed the crocodiles.
Which we absolutely wanted
Yeah,
to feed.
definitely fuck that rule because I want to see crocs.
Looking for pygmy elephants and
never saw.
lots of different kinds of birds.
And I do not know why
And
the fuck
orangutans.
we started doing this, but we started talking as our 60 to 80, probably 80-year-old selves.
Yeah, sure.
If we were
Yeah.
born in a different country as Myrtle
And Gert.
Ew, Mom.
Gertrude. Gertrude. Aren't you Gertrude? And I'm Myrtle.
Actually, I don't even remember if the name was Girdle and Myrtle or Murcher.
No, it was Mert and Gert.
I think you changed it. I had something different, but that's not even the point. Is that we're wandering around the whole day with
The entire day.
with Jen here
So-
at Maven.
Jen is...
Jen, we're so sorry. In retrospect,
No,
no, we're not actually.
we're not
We
sorry.
don't give a- It was fucking great.
She didn't think it was as funny as we did.
Nope.
And we stuck it out because you have to be on these boats at like 6 a.m.
Yeah,
And
we are living the hard life,
stuck it out.
guys, in a water safari with a private guide on a boat, and we got to get up really early. And
Yeah,
life
but
is
no,
hard.
we stuck it out until after sunset.
Oh yeah,
So for like
we were dedicated to finding the
13
animals.
hours,
Yep.
we spoke in this cray.
And our boat driver loved it, and he was joining in.
And Jen did not.
But Jen did not. I
She
think
never
was
joined. We
like,
asked Genevieve to join,
yeah, that's right, Genevieve.
and she never
Would
joined.
you like to join us, Genevieve?
However, we got to do it together. And there's something about
Finding your weird.
finding
with a
your
friend.
weird with a friend. So that's what we're going to talk about today.
That is what we're going to talk about
Yeah.
today.
Do you want to hear a little poem I wrote?
I would love. You wrote it? You
I
just
wrote
said
a poem.
earlier.
I
didn't
know.
you wrote
Sorry.
it.
I I get nervous about sharing my writing.
Oh, well then, yes.
It's really.
listeners.
I don't. Okay.
She's great.
I'm trying not to make it smaller because I love writing, but it's not a place that I share a lot. I share a lot in other ways, but not always writing.
Well, then I am stoked you are putting it out here to all the people
It's
who are
short.
listening.
And sweet. The big love you are looking for is your own. Fall in love with yourself. Heal your broken heart.
Short and sweet. Just like you, big love.
That's what we're here to do today. And I feel like maybe that's my purpose right now, is to heal my broken heart so we can heal others. And that's a lot about what we do on this
I think
little
that's
space.
the power that we forget that we have is, you know, you get told or you are marketed to that there is like a guru or a person that's going to do something to solve your problems, to bring out your light, to make the world better, to show you your power. And for the record, those are like very dangerous people to be around, because it's more so about someone holding a mirror to you and telling you, no, the light's always inside of you. That may not mean that you can turn it on without someone helping you do it, but it does not mean forever like, no, your light is inside of me or someone else. It's not. It's always in you.
Yeah.
And
So
yeah,
we're
healing
here
ourselves.
to heal our little broken hearts.
Yeah, I got lots of healing to do.
I don't know. I think one of the big ones we've been talking about a lot, you said, has just been coming up a lot. It's my kind of deepest wound too, is just this idea of, why do we go into that we feel like we're alone in the world, or that we don't belong, or that we're either too much or not enough? Those are some of the themes we hear women over and over talk about. It's ones we drop into.
Yes.
And so
I
I
even
wanted
have
to investigate it a little bit.
A little bracelet you made me. You are enough.
Yeah.
Because it is, I don't want to say sadly, but it is kind of sad when I think about it, that it's something I have to actually consciously remind myself of every single day. Even if I show up and I'm big and I'm capable and confident, I still have to go like, oh yeah, just remember you are enough. So when that little voice or that critic comes into play, we can shut them the fuck up.
I want to know, what's the root? I mean, you've been doing so much like deep inward self-work. I mean, 4 years, but you're doing a lot of it right now. And I want to hear, what's your root? Do you know the root of that? Like, you are not enough? Or a memory you have that you remember feeling that?
Yeah, I really wish it was like one instance in time, because wouldn't that be nice if we could like go through our data bank and I could go, yes, this one moment was like a big moment. But for me, I don't think it was, although I have been recircling this memory in my past that I think I've been ignoring for like 30 years. And it's this moment where I was a teenager and I'm like 15 years old.
What's 15-year-old Rocky like?
Oh, I thought you were going to say, I don't know what I thought you were going to say, but it was something about like, give me the timeline for what, 90s kid.
90s kid.
Yeah. Okay. 15-year-old Rocky had short black hair, cropped to my chin. I had red stripes in it. I straightened it all the time, and I have curly hair. If you don't watch our videos, I've got really curly hair. And I would take those hot irons and like with wet hair, just straighten it. Oh. So honestly, it looked adorable. It looked like your hair right now, but with black and red stripes. And I was always wearing just a weird collection of clothing. I was always doing art, and I was in musicals, and I was dancing a lot. And like, I spent a lot of time in the arts. And then I was also a really good student. So I was in honors classes, AP classes, a few grades above what I was supposed to be at as a 15-year-old. So I would say like I was a smart kid. I was a creative kid. At the time I was very Christian. I had grown up in not necessarily a Christian household, but I grew up in Christianity. And I had a boyfriend at the time who was 4 years older. So so that's kind of like a little snapshot of me as this kid.
Okay, continue on your memory.
Well, I like a big, colossal of things happened at that age. My grandparents passed away, my mom's parents, at the same time. And that was the first bout of grief that I had ever been exposed to, aside from like a pet.
And were you close to them?
I think I was close in the sense that they routinely came over, and my mom was very close to them. And I really wanted to be close to them, but I did not actually feel like what I would now classify as a wiser adult, a close factor.
Okay.
My grandfather was really cool. Like, he would show up with, he's an engineer, an aerospace engineer. And so he would show up with things from Goodwill that we would take apart together and like put it back together. He always used to gift me opera cassettes and a cassette player. We would listen to Italian opera. He was Italian. And it was just like fun stuff. The grandmother, on the other hand, was like really not very nice. And now I know she was a sad human, but I remember showing up in like overalls and she would say like, oh, you're fat. Like no one's ever going to love you or marry you and your elbows are dry. You know this story.
Oh, the elbows
Your
are dry.
elbows are dry. No one will want to walk with you in a park. So you're definitely going to die alone. Like that was my grandmother. She slapped my brother a couple times. She was always kind of like grouchy and grumpy. And she had a lot of mental health issues. So now I have a lot of grace for her, but that was kind of them. So when they passed, it was like terrible, not because they passed, but because my mom was in just devastation. It was
to lose both her parents at once.
Both her parents at the same time.
And pretty young, because this was a long time ago. So she was only
I want to say my mom was like
35?
her late 40s. No, she had me at like 35. So she
Okay.
was probably 50 at the time.
Okay.
Which is still young. I think my grandparents were in their early 70s. And during this time, my dad was also not handling it well. And in retrospect, I think that's because neither of them had the tools either for death. But I had that happen and I had to go to the funeral like everybody does. And I had to wake up without any direction of like, what's a funeral? Who's passed? What does this mean? What's the funeral going to be? I got myself dressed and I remember just being like, what the fuck do you wear to a funeral?
Yeah,
Like,
everything you knew about funerals you probably saw on rom-coms.
Yeah, in a movie of some
Yeah.
kind. So like I dressed myself in a black velvet skirt with slits up the side, nylons that were black, knee-high leather boots, and like some sort of low V-neck sweater all in black because I didn't have black at the time, ironically. And then I put on these big like Jackie O sunglasses. And I was like, I'm fucking ready to rock. Oh, and red lipstick. Bright red lipstick. And it's funny because I literally look like a cartoon character, like almost like a villain. Like if I had had a big hat, I could have been, Cruella de Vil, this type of style. But I remember looking in the mirror and just being like, I look like a prostitute, but I don't have anything else the fuck to wear. And I remember feeling so much shame and horror at the idea of like going out into public like this, but no one came into my room. No one
Checked
came
on
and
you.
checked to me. Nobody.
Time to go. Oh,
Nothing.
let me help you find something else.
And again, I'm not blaming my parents, but this sense of absence, I have been reading that this is like a different study of trauma, that trauma is something that happens to us, but it is also something that doesn't happen to us. And so it's not necessarily harder to pinpoint, but it is really challenging to pinpoint something that doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. So at the time, I had no idea that someone should come talk to me. It was just this feeling of loneliness and isolation. And when I got to the funeral, my family friend, who was kind of a bigger sister, I could not go into the reception. I was bawling in the car, like hiding there, trying to sort my own emotions. And I remember my mom came and asked me, "Are you okay? You don't want to come in? That's okay, no problem." And she was clearly disappointed, but I think she understood. Like, you can just be in here. It's not going to hurt anything. Mm-hmm. But this other woman did not feel that way. So she came out and she was like, "Get the fuck in there. What the fuck are you doing, you selfish little brat? You need to show up for people. You need to be here for." And there was something inside of me at that time that was like, no, I don't. I don't have to do fucking anything. I am grieving. You get the fuck in there. And we got into it. And I remember it got physical and she was like trying to drag me out of this car. And this moment of isolation was protected. Like I was so sad, but I was being protected by anger. Mm-hmm. And that became the trajectory of the rest of my adulthood.
Whoa.
Was anger. Because anger showed up when I needed anger.
Yeah, and it protected you.
And it protected me. I didn't have to go in there. I was able to, save face, if you will, because I was like crying behind these big ass Jackie O sunglasses, and I felt protected and safe.
And also like thinking about all of the things that have come later as you're unraveling this, you keeping yourself alone.
Yes. Yeah, because what happens when you yell at somebody out of anger?
Yeah.
She went away.
Right.
Which was like, boom, what a cool tool to use / you fast forward that, I get married, I yell at my husband, and he pulls away. And the whole time I'm trying to get him to pull closer. But I don't understand this tool that I've created and used and has transitioned into essentially now a negative tool. And I think it's just so interesting because now as I'm older, I'm trying to figure out, for a while I thought, okay, I got to squash and extinguish the anger. That fire is quote unquote bad. It pushes people away. It makes me look like a crazy person. I feel like a crazy person. You can't yell. It's not allowed. It's not accepted. It actually became like you are too much versus the original feeling of like, you're not enough. So use anger to be more. And so in that pullback, what's been crazy is now I'm trying to figure out, well, I can't shrink because there is power in anger. Like we talked about with Allie on that other podcast. And that anger is, well, how do I now harness it in a way that's not projecting, screaming at someone, but I can still use that fire energy in a way that blazes trails, because there has been so many times it has showed up for me. Like there was this client I had, and he called my husband because he wasn't happy with my work.
Oh, I remember this guy.
And he's Mormon. And I don't think that's necessarily the religion showing itself, but for him, that was definitely his belief was, I'm working with a woman, but she's not really in charge. I need to call her husband. And, you know, my husband is not that reciprocant. He is going to be exactly the type of man that I married, which is, I think you should talk to my wife. And oh, by the way, good luck with that conversation because you called me first and you're going to be in for it now. And I remember when I spoke with him, I was like, I'm sorry, did you call my husband? And he's like, yeah, well, and I was like, oh, don't be fucking shy now, bro. Why don't you tell me what you told my husband? Because you had no problem telling him. And of course, this is not the actual conversation. This is creative nonfiction. But we had this back and forth where I had no problem telling him, this is an unacceptable way to treat me. You do not need to call my husband. Also, I'm not going to work for you anymore. And I walked away from like $100,000 contract because that man was not going to respect me the way that I deserve to be respected or treat me in a business setting the way I deserve to be treated.
And that's how anger can show up
100% in the best way.
to help. Yeah.
Because I don't have kids. And I feel like that's what women do with a lot of like firepower is you protect your children. And that's a beautiful way to see it. And so there are so many other ways when you show up for yourself or other people and use that as an incredible protector. But then also like get to telling your husband to go fuck himself is, you know, not going to strengthen the marriage.
No.
Pro tip.
Or keep people away, right? And it's like I think about that as a way that you really kept yourself safe and you kept your little heart protected,
Yes.
right? As a young kid, but then further along in adulthood, being able to do that.
And that's crazy that those are the tools that we create that literally give us our worst fear. That's
And
how
it's
that
also, I mean, what
negativeness-
you wanted most was belonging.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, you don't just like chop your hair and color it and be a cheerleader / you know, have an older boy. I mean, like there's so many cries for helps in that like retrospective look of me that, yeah, it was lonely and it was trying to find connection and dealing with grief and parents' grief and not having support for it and all of that stuff. And it just ended up propelling me into the deep, dark places I didn't want to go. But after the inner work, which is the key here, the time that we spend to sit with those little versions of ourselves or the emotions or this quote unquote archetype of a fire woman, the more I sit with those pieces of myself, the more we come together as one whole person. And then I have the ability to go, oh, cool. I can be both fire and calm and gentle. And there's a way to embrace both sides when it calls for it. And I can call on those powers when and where I need to use them. But yeah, loneliness, man, I don't even know if I describe loneliness well because I'm still trying to learn to sit with that shadow emotion and I don't like talking about it. I'm much happier talking about the fire.
When you can feel that loneliness or the I am not enoughness come on, you've told me a couple stories about that. When that comes up now, how do you use it, or maybe it's not even a shift, or like how do you work with it?
I think about the woman who yelled at me in the car, and she was 30 at the time and I was 15. And it what's crazy to me is I can't imagine treating a 15-year-old like that. Granted, I don't have a teenager who's like upsetting me or frustrating me. So like maybe that's not, but there's something deep inside of me that says that's not how I would have handled that situation. And also that's not how I would have handled the situation if it was my daughter who had her grandparents pass. And so I think about what is it? Like when I'm lonely, like how would I want to be treated? How would I want that piece if it was my niece or nephew, if it was a younger version of me, if it was you, how would I talk to her? And often I find myself speaking in that bigger sister tone, which is not the good one, actually. This woman's
This is a protector.
This woman's protector. Get off the floor. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You're embarrassing me. Like, do not be ashamed. Do not be lonely. This isn't fucking acceptable. That is the wrong use, if you will, of this fire energy. And it's not where I feel most comfortable. It's not where I feel like that's what I would do. That's that exterior part of myself that I'm trying to rewire to bring in the way I would speak to you, which would be, oh, Tessa, I'm so sorry. It's okay. I'll just sit here with you and try to speak to myself in that same voice. And it's so weird because I can't really do it. I'm still practicing. It still becomes like, what the fuck are you doing? Oh, it's okay, Rocky. And then I do that weird like
thing where you
like
pat.
a pat where I can't really hug and I get a little like tense and tight and I'm very robotic.
Yep.
Because it's so unfamiliar. But over time, over the last year, it's softened a little and just a little. That's, I think, important though, because as I'm saying it, I would tell anybody else, well, it's better that you tried it than not try it. And it's better that you patted and didn't avoid touch. And it's better that you did. All of those are steps towards maybe at some point in the future, I can fully embrace that piece of myself or get on the ground with them and cry. And then she doesn't show up as frequently or she doesn't need me as much or whatever it is. So higher self, different version of myself. That's like, I feel like the tool I keep using pretty effectively.
Yeah, I love that. So like to think about when you feel that come up, you're trying to channel in the voice that will speak to you in that gentler, or like we often refer to this as higher self, or if you know, a wiser version of yourself in the future, talking to this tiny version of yourself.
Yeah. And that version
With a gentleness, like, hey, I will sit. And then your attempt is to sit in the feeling instead of run away from the feeling. That's how you're trying to handle it now.
And also that I think it is cool that I do have that voice that when time calls for it, like, hey, Rocky, we don't have time for this. Get off the floor. That can actually show up. And it doesn't have to be as nasty, but it is the same thing. It is this whole self version talking to these pieces so that like, what if I've got to push through something? Because I really do have to.
There are times that you need that, right?
You know, there's an
if
emergency.
you're not safe.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Emergency, not safe. Same thing. That she'll show up and do that. So yeah, this higher self, what I think my lesson is, my higher self is not just this calm, collected, sweet being. It is also a powerful woman with fire. And it's just when and where to use which voice. Not that it will always be like, oh, it's okay. I'll just be here for you. Because I don't think that is all of us anyway. I think that's something women are conditioned to think we need to be.
And really,
Super
let's be real.
nice.
Your higher self, wiser version of you would never speak like that.
No, oh yeah, no, she's fucking sick. She's like, "What's up, babe?
She
What are you
has a
doing?
sword.
You look great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you always look great. I love you.
Long curly gray
How's your
hair.
sex life? Fucking bangering. That's right. That's fucking right.
All right.
Rakito.
Also, somehow
All
it
right,
sounds like
all right.
Matthew McConaughey.
Because if I could be a female version of Matthew McConaughey, which I'm pretty sure I'm already there.
I was gonna say
Thank
you are, babe.
Thank
You
you.
are.
Yes, at least this is my higher self speaking.
It's interesting. So
Matthew, find me.
we will talk more about this, but you will hear this idea of calling in your higher self to talk to different parts of you. There's something Rocky and I have both been really interested in is this idea of parts work as well as a path to find your whole self. And this like being able to identify these different parts of us, right? These like smaller children in us. And also maybe sometimes they're the teenage versions that are, you know, or the big sister version, or the place you go with fear or, you know, scarcity or whatever. And I love the practice of this, bringing in this wise voice to actually talk, rather than, okay, wait, that's the voice I don't actually want in charge. If we're all the voices at the conference table, which voice do you want in charge? But allowing people to, allowing them to be able to speak.
Oh, yeah,
which
they
one do you
exist.
want to listen to?
Don't hide them
with
away.
you as the head. Yeah.
And I also was talking to Jennifer Mulholland, who we had on the podcast before. And one of her things that she was adding was like, well, what if it's not a piece of you? What if it's outside of you? Because you're not just contained by your own experiences. What if it's ancestral? What if it's a guide? What if it's a deity? What if it's any of these other spiritual elements that exist? Like, what if your fire woman is Kali, the Indian goddess of death, like with her tongue out and she's all crazy and big? What if that's not you? You don't have to identify it with it either. So then it separates us a little bit from the intensity sometimes of what it can mean if it's like, oh, this is me, I'm lying on the floor. What if it's not me lying on the floor? What if it's just that feeling of sadness, and that's what sadness looks and feels like in the body, but I don't have to be it or defined by it.
That's cool.
And I liked that because it was this broader, looser grip.
You don't have to identify. I think
Identity.
we want to over-identify often because we want to understand, right? It's like I'm watching my children try and identify and label and put things in boxes to understand the world. And it's so natural. And I do it. I'll tell them, oh, you are so stubborn or something like that. But like they might be stubborn in that moment. But I don't want them to identify as that forever. I was told a lot growing up that I was selfish. And so I think on the flip side, I've like really pushed into being generous. But I also now think selfish is like a really great thing in the definition that we use it, is like take care of yourself first. And I think I was like intuitively doing that, like taking care of myself first, so I could then take care of others, because you can't do the others if you haven't done yourself, right?
No, you cannot.
But those are kind of those over-identifiers. So I like that. I like bringing it to that.
And just because you segued so nicely into it, this younger version of yourself that was told when you were stubborn, what's like your big lonely moment that you remember?
Well, this one is so, I just like, when we were first talking about this one comes to mind so easily and so often. I was 7 and I was riding in the back of my best friend's Bronco.
Oh,
that her
what year?
mom was driving.
Do you remember?
Oh, it was so fucking cool.
Was it one of the 70s?
It was one of those like navy blue ones with like the stripes in the seat.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
OJ's getaway car.
Basically, yes. Yes, absolutely. And she was driving us to school, and I think I was doing what I do best, which is often at 7, I was definitely telling someone what to do. And now having a 5 and a 9-year-old, I see this behavior all the time and think about, wow, this is how kids actually just communicate with each other.
Direct, but kind.
Direct was like, hey, I don't want to play this. Let's play this, right? And along the way, you have to convince people like what to do. So I was doing this and I don't really even remember what I was doing before. I don't even remember what I was saying.
An example of Tessa telling someone what to do, not as this version, but as 7-year-old version.
I was probably saying, we should wear matching outfits tomorrow.
Oh my God, that would be you.
Right?
Yeah, we have a matching sweat set that you bought me that also Jen has. And I fucking love it. But yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was probably doing something like that. And maybe the little girl at the time, who was my best friend, was like, no, I don't want to. And then her mom, as mama bears do, stick up for their kids, right? Never believe that their kids are doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And she said, Tessa, you are so bossy. And I was like, stopped in my tracks, was silent the rest of the way to school, and just filled with shame. Like my face got hot and I just got quiet. And I was like, first of all, I didn't really know what bossy meant. I just knew it wasn't a good thing. So
Well, also because this is a mother, so someone who's much older than you.
Yes.
Did she say anything else to you in the car? Like
not
when you
that
went
I remember.
silent?
Not that I remember. And like looking back at her now, I just got to relive this memory with another childhood friend who was in that same group of friends with us that I just saw. And I was like, man, I actually thinking about her now, she was a really big figure in my life because she was kind of mean and I was kind of scared of her. And I was with her a lot.
Every
because
friends
this was
group had the scary mom.
yeah, kind of. And she just was like quick to like, you know, she like would pick her kid up from school if her kid forgot to make her bed, you know, and there was like no fun snacks in her house because there was no sugar. And there was like just kind of quick to like criticize is what I remember of her. And I'm sure now that's not who she is at all. And it was probably just this moment in time. But only a few years before, she had lost a child to drowning, a little toddler boy that would have been her older brother. And I think about that often now of like, oh man, that poor mom she had a whole bunch of kids and, you know, didn't have a lot of identity outside of being a mom and lost one of them. And I can only imagine what that was like and how that changed her. Like, I wonder what kind of human she would have been without that and what kind of softness she might have delivered to her, you know, her kids after. And maybe she'd never had the softness and I saw the true version of her then. But I just always think, oh man, I wonder if she was grieving so big and hard that like this kid that was just kind of annoying and taking up space in her car.
Kids are annoying. Let's be honest.
She just flippantly said, you know, without thinking of it, God, you're so bossy. And me as a kid without, this is the absence of, right? Information to help me recategorize this information I had. I just stopped raising my hand in class. I stopped speaking out of turn. I just knew whatever I was, I didn't feel right. I didn't feel like what I was, something was wrong with me. So I really, really shifted my behavior. And I just like distinctly remember that moment as a space of like, whew, and I'm doing a complete shrink of, I just want to melt into this car seat and never have to see anyone again because I am not right for this world.
Literally just hide.
And so I talk about this moment often of like, this is the moment I knew I wasn't right for the world. And it's so little, it's such a silly little thing, but like, I think maybe that was also the moment, like it was sad. It was sad, but also maybe this is the moment that put me on my path to fight for women's equality. I know that's really silly, but
no,
like,
I don't think it's silly at all.
I just don't think boys in the 90s, let's see, this wasn't even the 90s yet. This would have been like 89.
They wanted to be the 90s.
They were not called bossy. And boys were called leaders and girls were called bossy. And what kind of leader would I have been had I started practicing, 10 years before? Because by the time I got to high school, I was a really big athlete and I was a really big, I was like early in my sports career was really good. So I was captain of teams before I was a senior. And it was,
Were you a bossy captain?
I was a bossy captain because I was
Did you
a
get
fucking
praised for
amazing team player. Yeah.
Okay. So that added to some level of strength.
This is the moment that I brought it back into my life, into my memory, that I realized actually me gathering the troops and getting people to all work towards a common goal, like winning a soccer game, was actually what I was really good at.
Isn't it crazy? I think this is why sports are so important for younger girls, particularly for our generation. And like, I don't have kids to know of this generation, but that was one of the places we were allowed, quote unquote, to be bossy.
To be your full loud self.
Yeah.
I was I still am, and I'm awesome cheerleader. I'm going to tell someone I fucking believe in you before they believe in themselves. And that's always been like one of my skill sets, but I really tamped it down for a really long time. And I distinctly remember that moment and that shrinking because I'll explain when it happens now, I will feel like my feet get smaller in my shoes, and I will feel myself retract back to that 7-year-old little girl and just want to be shrink. And I was this is such a silly little story, but I caught myself, and I was like actually pretty proud of myself. I was just at the bathhouse down the street. Glow, what up? If you're in Salt Lake, you better go.
Gotta go hit up Glow.
Freaking amazing. Women owned, of course. And was there with some friends, and I was in the sauna talking to my husband about summer camp for our kids, because that's such a thing at this state of my life and this month. And I was really quiet, but not quiet enough for this other woman on the other side of the sauna. And she looked up at me with these kind of like mean, cranky eyes. And she said, "Could you be quiet? Or could you at least whisper softer?" Because I was already whispering. and I could tell, and this is such a silly little thing, because in my past life and past less healed versions of myself, I would have let that ruin my bathhouse experience. And I know that's so stupid, but like, I love to belong just like everybody else. And I love everyone to love me. And there was this, and I just like wrapped myself in shame. Face got hot. I was already in sauna. Yes.
Your Barbie feet are shrinking.
My Barbie feet are shrinking.
These cute little feet you have, little 5
They are. They're so little. Don't make them 5.5. They're 6.5.
On a just like day. I'm 5'11".
On a good day.
Whatever.
Yeah. And I started shrinking. And then I just like really sat with it and was like, what is she bringing in? Maybe she's trying to get pregnant. Maybe she doesn't want to get pregnant. Maybe she doesn't want to hear about my kids' summer camps because that's not what she wants to hear, why she's in the sauna. All these reasons as to why she actually felt the need to be kind of mean about it to a stranger. Mm-hmm. But my old self would just be like, oh, there you go again. There you are again, being too much. And I lit that voice you have of the older sister.
Yes.
I've not identified it as an older sister, but I go the same place of like, oh, there you go again, being too much. And
that was a really weird thing to watch you just transition to that voice.
Did I have a whole split personality?
Changed. Yes.
Yeah. It's a very, very not very nice version where I'm like, huh. And then I go into the shrink mode, and then I want to be erased or really invisible is
but
the
that
feeling.
Tool is such another good one to add to the mix of, it's the old fable of like, you haven't walked in a man's shoes to know who he is or where he's been or all of that stuff. That same idea of what you're doing when we look at other people and we take ourselves out of the situation and go, this isn't about me. This is about that person. And that person is just triggering something in me.
Totally.
So I'm having this. Okay, let me go and work on this experience. And then this other person, oh, can I find empathy for them? Can I find understanding, commonality? We are more alike than we are different. What is it?
Yeah. I think what you bring up is really, really smart, of this idea of like, this bringing in the idea that whatever else that person that's criticizing you or making you feel small or whatever it is, what are they bringing in, and almost removing yourself. And that is a huge tool I use that I was able to do in a pretty quick few minutes, and this is so silly, didn't let it ruin the rest of my date with my husband. I was like, I'm not going to let it, and then I was going to bring it back up, and I was like, I don't even want to add more, fuel to the flame. I just want to let it roll off my back of like, cool, that's actually not my problem that she's feels the need to police the sauna. That's not my problem. Not my problem.
What's so funny is I'm just imagining if I was in the sauna with you and I was in my fiery state before I got more wisdom around it, it would have been like, what the fuck is wrong with my volume, lady? And then I would just be talking louder to be the asshole that's like, yeah, you want to fucking go?
Yeah.
And it's funny because your old version would pull back. My old version would pull forward. And neither of them need to be that extreme. They served a purpose for a period of time.
They did. And they protected us.
Kept us from being lonely. I actually, again, continuing this conversation from Jennifer, because I was talking to her so much about this, and she's the one that gave me the imagery of, what if it's not inside of yourself? And that little piece also made me think, that means I'm not alone. If there's something outside of me, I'm not alone. But also all these pieces of me, I'm not alone. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to somebody else, and she was reminding me like, yeah, you're never alone when you're alone. Like one of the epidemics we have is loneliness. Mm-hmm. And one of the solutions we are sold is go find it. Mm-hmm. And we're again told to go find it elsewhere. And I do think obviously with MAVEN,
we love building communities.
So much power
yes.
in community. But what if you learn not to be alone just by being with yourself?
Yeah.
And
this
that,
inward.
Right?
Yeah. Tend and befriend. I don't know if you knew what cup you got me today, but this cup, we have these amazing cups.
Of course I chose it.
You did choose. Yes. Oh, you did. Okay.
Yeah. Show the people. Show the people.
Okay. Even as you stand by yourself, you are not alone. And this is amazing. And
I like that you're holding it as though we have someone that's going to zoom in on it.
Yeah, maybe. Look, people. Yeah. This one is amazing because it's so true. Whether or not, like whatever you believe, but the more we get to know what's inside here, this doesn't make community not less important, or it doesn't make it, this is a double negative. It doesn't make it not important, but the more you can like fall in love with yourself here or tend and befriend or really make that little child feel less lonely, the less you have to rely on the outside world to do that for you, which I kind of love, because then the outside world is like frosting, right? Or if it's not the right taste of frosting, you don't actually need it, right? Like this woman in the bathhouse, I was like, oh wait, that's not for me. You said it to me, but that's yours. Yeah. So it was a really nice example of a way I could just pop out of it quick enough. And so thank you for letting me share today. It's been really, really fun.
Thanks. I never think of thanking you to share, to be honest. I gotta work.
You do after
on that.
You do always. I just don't do it always. You always let me know. Yeah. So it's cool. So here's a couple wrap ups. Thinking about when you fall into that space of loneliness, how much are you going inward to tend and befriend, or calling on, your higher self, your higher powers, whatever that is. And then how are you over identifying the people that are coming at you? And what was the last thing how do you do it?
Yours was actually the last one. Yeah. Yours was the last one, of being able to speak to or think about this other person's perspective to give you a different way to look at them, so that you're not acting from, I'm triggered, therefore I'm just going to respond. You look at them and you go, I wonder what they're going through. Be curious and love them just as much as you're trying to be curious and love yourself at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's
interesting. More to come.
We're all lonely. This is a feeling that we all have.
Let's keep talking about this. I'm really curious about it. I want to know how it lands with you all. I want to know what we didn't cover, because I feel like we're just scratching the surface here. But thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
I just think about that cute 15-year-old girl. She was cool.
She's still here. I'm still fucking cool.
Those red streaks.
Cool. Cheers.
Love you, partner. Thank you.
Too. Thanks, guys, for listening.
Thanks for staying. See you next time.
Bye. Bye.